following introduction contains potentially triggering scenario around how it feels to try very hard on shifting and not shift despite your best efforts. Please skip the next couple of minutes if that is not something you are ready to hear yet. You will still receive the message and advice here. I shall begin now. It's 10 p.m. Your day wasn't good, nor was it bad. You feel bored and inevitably remember that you can shift. You attempt to write before you go to sleep and wake up the next day, still here. You try to think why that is, sincerely wishing to improve and reflect, but instead, thoughts of how this has been the X year or 15th attempt in a row that you didn't shift fill your mind. A sense of shame fills you as you wonder why you haven't shifted yet, and you think, what if I never shift? It's a scary thought, and you feel the weight of responsibility to go home, back to your loved ones, who you know are waiting for you, pulling you down. You feel suffocated, your hands are tingly, tears are welling up in your eyes, and there's a headache coming on. God, I don't want to do this again. How many times have you experienced something like this? Trying hard and still feeling uncertain about your future, or in general, you've been told that you're scared of the unknown and you wonder, is this a me thing? Am I really just insecure? Well, these things you're feeling are okay. They're completely normal, natural, and common. Your efforts can still be realized, even if you have or do feel uncertain about shifting or just have this general fear of the unknown. But first, we shall shed light on this fear of the unknown. Identifying what the situation is helps you to better navigate it, understand it, and prepare for it. The fear of the unknown is just a fear. A fear is an emotion. Emotions tend to be a product of external circumstances or internal musings, and they trigger physiological reactions in our body, such as brain fog, headaches, quickening of heartbeat, a smile, tears, etc. As real and solid our emotions and reactions feel, they are fleeting. By exercising calming techniques, gaining awareness of the situation, and changing our perspective of it, we can prevent these emotions or manage them so we don't feel them as strongly or long. How you manage your emotions and the mindset you adapt is up to you. There is no right or wrong way or opinion. You can choose to be spiritual, focusing on trusting that the divine is supporting you, trusting that the outcome will always be good for you, trusting in your own powers of manifestation and healing crystals, mantras, chants, prayers, etc. And you can also choose to be more psychological, such as knowing your signs of rumination. So whenever you find yourself beginning to ruminate, you stop and focus on something else. Or you can write a list about the positives and negatives of being a shifter and prepare for the negatives if you fear that shifting makes you neglectful of this reality, for example. That's one of your negatives, and that pressure, as a consequence, is stopping you from focusing on shifting. You could also identify what triggers these fears of uncertainty. Does it only come when you have consistently been feeling like you're not making progress in shifting? So how about building a routine that feels more fun, constructive, and intentful instead? The trick here is not to look at your fear of uncertainty, or any emotion really, and say it's inappropriate and that you need to get rid of it. Instead, aim to understand yourself and the situation, thus accepting your emotions. So ask yourself, what led you to feeling this way, and how can you manage these feelings or lower the risk of these emotions coming up instead? Practice that. Next, let's get a better understanding of your position. Feeling uncertain about the future or about the success of your efforts is common. This isn't exclusive to shifting. For example, I've spoken to many university students who are graduating and worry they won't get a job in their chosen fields. I've also spoken to multiple professionals who said that they felt the same way when they were younger, and that they regretted not doing X major or not doing more, but they are still successful people in my eyes. There have been business owners who at multiple stages of their business worried that no one is going to buy their products and that this isn't going to sustain them, that they'll have to go back to their previous job or just find a job in the corporate field, something more stable. But they still created successful businesses. There's countless other stories from countless other fields, all with a common denominator of feeling lost, uncertain, and like they can't do it. You're one of these stories. You are one of these people. Your chosen experience, shifting, comes with its own set of worries. For example, thinking you're not going to shift and dreading the future as a result, thinking you aren't good enough to shift because you can't do X technique, comparing yourself to other shifters who shifted in less time than you. No matter what you're doing, worries are normal. Do you know, business owners can get really scared of client reviews, of products being damaged, and that badly reflecting on their business. And they can also worry about whether the clients will buy their products if they raise their prices, and sometimes they compare themselves to other owners who are more successful in the less or same time, etc., etc. It's the point here that I'm trying to make is that getting these kind of thoughts, it's very, very normal, and you will not escape it no matter where you go, because each situation brings with itself unique or just like its own set of problems. And we can get swept up in how good it is when we want something. For example, when you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to eat all the food. You get there and perhaps a problem you might have come into contact with is being too full to eat more, but you still want some. So there's that internal conflict of like, should I have more? Should I relax? And perhaps something went wrong on the surface, or you had to get up and leave early. You can see here that there's still going to be problems, and it's not about trying to avoid problems, trying to find the easy way out, like what thing can I get that will be free of problems? Nothing is free of problems, but rather you can learn to understand the situation, understand the issue, and handle it more calmly, rationally, reasonably. You can get better at solving problems, and also accept that there are some problems that you've probably not come across, aren't prepared for, and it's going to be a learning curve. So just be gentle with yourself there, okay? So when we look in the professional industry, it's very common there to learn how to be confident, which comes from identifying that being worried is not a reflection of your success. However, I'd also recommend you don't completely disregard your worries. Instead, as I said before, understand the situation, understand the problem. And you do this and one of the ways you do this is by using them, your worries that is, as opportunities for improvement. Think, is this grounded in a real risk? You need to be able to do this, or else everything will feel like a risk and impossible. Or at least for me it did, so it might for you as well. For example, a business owner worrying that their product would get damaged could assess the state of their current packaging and invest in more packaging measures which could better protect delicate material. Likewise, if you, for example, fear that you're going to fail, you can find a way to prevent such outcomes. Perhaps not prevent failure, but maybe get better at managing things that are not constructive for you in your shifting journey. Unlike business owners, your solutions wouldn't be as clear-cut as getting more packaging. So instead, I'll introduce you to the concept of decision-making for complex problems. It's a pretty loaded topic, so I won't explain it here, but I'd recommend you look into it, and I've attached some links below. The real world is surrounded by big, complex problems, and that requires the ability to make decisions against them. Think about the scale of our industries for a second. Big businesses doing big things, which have big risks to a lot of people, a lot of countries. Health and safety in mining, privacy and security in technology, the poverty gap, COVID-19, and the list goes on. So think about it like this. If these people can prepare against a lot of unfortunate issues in a big scale, then there must be some hope, some way of managing what I'm doing. Your ability to make decisions and to understand that complex problems don't necessarily require a right decision, but a good or even a great one, and even multiple great or good decisions can better help you navigate how you should approach shifting, can make you more flexible. An exercise I like doing, which I've learned from my volunteer work as a consultant, is to write the end goal and then all the steps you have to take to get there. And then write 3 to 5 solutions, and you can have fun with some silly ones on how to achieve these steps. This way, you're breaking down the issue into small steps and thinking about how you could achieve them. So let's say your friend says that they want to go on a road trip next weekend, and you're a university student. So what are some objectives you'll need to consider to achieve this goal? Think up these objectives and put them in order from what you'll do first to last. So there's transport, accommodation, getting your schoolwork all done, money, food, activities for fun, of course. And the list can be longer than that. So possible solutions to transport could be biking, walking, taking a car, taking the bus, taking the train. And some of these solutions you might find are quite they can be a bit silly. For example, if you had to go to the next city, it might not be the best thing to walk. But the point here is to just think of solutions. It helps you get out of your head of right and wrong and just make stuff up. So this fuels more creativity in you, okay? So anyway, solutions to money could be budgeting, taking up extra shifts, borrowing money, and then, of course, you decide which of these solutions will be the best, most realistic to implement. If you were to extend on those objectives, you could even ask self, do I want to go before anything else? And perhaps you decide, actually no, I don't want to go on this trip. So even before you have your objectives about that's about transport, accommodation, schoolwork, money, food, activities, you put all before figuring all of that out and all of the solutions, you do ask self, do I want to go? Right? And so the purpose of this exercise is to better understand how you can achieve your goal, better understand your values, which is where your objectives will come in, right? For example, so like you don't need to ask yourself, do I want to go? But if, for example, you value having your own decision and not just going along with what your friend says, perhaps that would be important, right? So yeah, it just helps you understand your values and what makes you happy, and to create an actionable order of events to accomplish what you want. So once you've created your objectives, right, and your solutions, you want to put it in a timeline, like which one should I do first? Should I get my schoolwork out of the way first? Should I budget first? And you just like think through how things will affect each other if you do them in X order or Y order. Like, I know I have to budget, so I need to prep, and my solution was to get more shifts at work. Or one of my solutions was to get more shifts at work. But the thing is, if I take more shifts at work, then I'll have less time to do schoolwork. So should I do schoolwork first and then take up my shifts? Or should I not do my schoolwork? It's a bad example, but you kind of get the thought process there, right? At the end of this exercise, you want to feel, okay, yes, I think I can do this. So it's a great exercise for clarity, planning, purpose, and creative problem solving. I'll end us off with saying that when you care for something, it's natural to feel uncertain and scared for it, and idolizing feelings of positivity will make us sadder. So no, you don't need to feel certain or confident all the time, nor is it a marker of your success, but it is in your best interests, in my opinion at least, for the sake of your own mental health, to make efforts to more healthily approach shifting so that you do feel better about it. Regardless, you can still shift despite not feeling the best. Many other shifters have felt the same way you do and still shifted. So, remove unrealistic expectations. Okay? That is going to be rocky. You're going to have ups and downs. You're not always going to feel great. And guess what? That is what everyone experiences, shifter or not. Whatever they do, sometimes they just feel things suck. And you're doing great, okay? And I think it's a point of pride to still be persisting. And I also think that that's what matters, despite all your struggles, despite all the tears and how bad you feel, that you are still here wanting to do better, still looking to support yourself. That kind of resilience is awesome. So you should be proud of yourself too. You're not insecure or sensitive. You're a fighter and you haven't given up. Also, remember that you don't have to cave to your fears. However, sorry, I messed up my words a bit. How about whenever you feel scared, have the courage to say loud and clear, I am going to shift. This is an act of rebellion against your fears and a reminder to yourself just how strong and capable you are. Sometimes I think we may overlook that not only do we take cues from the world around us, but we also take cues from ourselves. And I found personally for me, at times it's best to just act confident. Sometimes it's best to say it clearly and confidently out loud, even though internally I just it makes me just get out of my head, really, not feel so stuck about how scared I feel makes me feel like I have a choice, and I do. So that might help you as well. Lastly, nothing I say is professional medical advice, so here's a little disclaimer, okay? I've attached some links to a psychology channel by a licensed therapist whom I listen to regularly. I'd recommend you watch her videos on emotional regulation and use them as your first basis of knowledge. Treating everything said in this video as an opinion and advice from someone who relates it to you and has done quite a bit of work regarding this, but does not have professional training on the matter. It is important to go to a trusted, trained therapist, as they tend to give advice that have quantifiable, evidential results on multiple people, so their advice tends to be safer, more realistic, healthier, updated, and aware of the dangers of giving incorrect advice. Thank you. And remember, uncertainty is not a shifting thing, okay? Bye-bye.